Man, could the NFL preseason go any slower? I am ready for the games to count. The Rays are on a tear, but the Yankees are too. Hey, is the American League East still the toughest division in baseball? What do hot dogs have to do with your lifespan? And you can't fix stupid. Listen, guys, I can't think of a better way to start your week than to hang out with us. It's Sunday. It's 7 p.m. And this is the main event. Hey, by the way, that wasn't a sweep. You can put your broom away. Oh my God.
They did sweep the Orioles this week.
I'm just cleaning up Studio 454 like the Rays cleaned up this week. That's all.
Oh, okay.
Hey, I tell you what, man, White Sox are a good team, man, and the Rays put it on them.
Listen, I can get on board with that. Chief, it's been a while since you've had some opening antics.
I know.
I appreciate you coming out your shell. Hey, listen, before we get started, real quick, Pooh Bear, tell us about fantasy football.
Man, this is the best game in town. You don't want to miss it. Right now, below this video is a link in this description that tells you where to go to join the free main event fantasy football survival challenge. You could win you're going to compete against us and a bunch of other people, and you could win a swag bag full of main event swag, because we know how you like to get swaggy. I'm really using my urban lingo and my teenage dialect for this one here.
Listen, here we are, not a single one of us. By the way, not a single one of us on the show today wearing any man event swag.
Oh yeah, no, the chief is, but he just took it. He
just covered it up.
Oh, okay.
There it is.
Oh, there we go. That shirt right there will definitely be in the swag bag for the winner of the fantasy football challenge.
That league is live. The link is active. Click it now. Click it after this video.
There you go.
Sign up.
So listen, here is something else that is very, very important. Okay. As I said in the opening, like preseason is like dragging along, but it's not going to be long before these games count. And you are not going to want to miss a Sunday show with us. So to make sure that doesn't happen, you need to make sure you subscribe to this channel. Do it right now. We're going to wait. Go ahead and do it right now.
It doesn't hurt. And it helps us a ton. If you like this, even like us, just any slightest bit, like click it. What is this?
Oh, what's the?
That's our timer. We're waiting.
The countdown to kickoff.
All right, listen, gentlemen. I did not get an opportunity last night to catch the Buccaneers preseason game. Chief, what did you see?
Well, we saw preseason football. It wasn't. It lived up to every preseason game's reputation. It was from a fan's perspective. If you were looking for a win, or if you were looking for drives, you didn't see that. What we did get to see, we saw some really bad quarterback play. We saw some really bad offensive line. These are not the starters, by the way. Only one or two starters actually played last night for the Bucs. I'm talking about, and we had a lot of backups, a lot of guys looking for jobs. There are not many jobs available on this team. You figure they're bringing back all 22 starters, on a 53-man roster. There's not many openings there. So,
all right, so hey,
chance for a couple guys to shine.
I got to ask a question. I didn't really catch any of the game last night, but so far, my favorite player after week one of the preseason is the linebacker with the really long red hair. And I gotta know, how did he play last night?
Great.
We know his name. His name is.
He's Mr. Irrelevant, by the way.
He's Mr. Irrelevant.
It's like you were there with us. We went through all this. You must have been having the same discussion. But yeah, we had to Googling and find out because you can't see his name with his hair.
Impossible.
So you and I watched the game the previous week, and you were calling him Merida. And last night, the chief was calling him Seamus O'Malley.
Yes.
I'm like, we finally came up with his name, and I've already forgotten it.
Grant, I think it's Grant Stewart.
There it
And
is. Stewart.
Grant Stewart.
Grant Stewart led in tackles, 6
Yeah.
solos,
Right.
and he had a sack. Yeah.
He
Hey,
was-
I gotta know, what are the chances this guy makes the team?
I'd say pretty good, but and here's what I noticed from watching, because when I'm watching a game like that, obviously, I'm not looking for my team to score because it's just not going to happen, especially with that talent on the field. But I was looking for positioning. Was he in the right position? Was he making the right reads? And that's exactly what he was doing. There was a bootleg, which they had been fooled on with previous players on the field, and he stayed home, which is what he's supposed to do as a middle linebacker. Go with the rest of the play. Do not fall for the quarterback running out. There's already a man on him. I think there was a defensive end was on him. So I look for those types of things. I think that's what the coaches are going to be looking for. So his positioning, his technique, all that kind of stuff was, to me, was class. I mean, that was an NFL player technique.
Hey, the best name on the field, though, the best name on the field was not a Buccaneer. It was a Titan.
Oh, yes.
And if you're gonna roll with a name like Booty Calhoun, then you've got to make some plays.
You better.
Booty Calhoun showed up to play last night. He was fun to watch. He was even more. It's even more fun to say. So
He had a pick six, right? That was the pick six for Titans.
yes, yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, our offensive line gave up the booty. So,
Yes.
our quarterbacks were running for their life most of the night, and hence their low quarterback ratings across the board. But Kyle Trask had the lowest of all. We had a lot of drops. Our receivers dropped. I saw O.J. Howard also dropped a really great pass. So not all the quarterback's faults. So the offensive line's got to play better. Their second team beat our second team is what happened. We didn't see Tom Brady. I didn't see any of our defensive linemen in there at all. The only name that I've seen on defense that we know is Nunez Roches.
Nachos.
Yeah.
Nachos.
So he played quite a bit in there from what I could see. And otherwise, but these guys are all vying to make the team, right?
Mhm.
These guys are special teams is probably where they're going to make it at. We might get some, like that linebacker, Grant Stewart, maybe he can make it in there. We've got some return guys that are showing out, which is those two receivers that are kind of going back and forth and trying to see who's going to make the team. And one of those receivers, Jalen Darden, he 34 yards, 11.3 average, 19 is his long. So the other person is Keyshawn Vaughn, who's already on the team. And he's got 2 kick returns, and his average is 15.5. So it's not bad depending on where he's, grabbing the ball. If he's, making good decisions when he's returning it, not coming off the 2-yard line, right?
Yeah.
Pooh Bear, I got to ask. So, Pat makes a point that their second team beat our second team. We're 0-2. Okay.
Yes.
And I realize that, Tom Brady has 5 snaps, that nobody played, yesterday. But are you worried, one, about the 0-2 start? And then my follow-up question is going to be, what happens if we start getting injuries? And it is our second team that's out there.
And that's where I think you as a Buccaneers fan, you should be worried, or one should be worried, because the depth. Do I still hear the clicking, the clock?
That's the clock. Pat's still waiting for people to subscribe.
or we're gonna blow up. I'm not sure what's gonna happen.
It's disturbing me. So what I'm seeing there is if there is an injury, say on the offensive line, and one of these fellas comes in as a backup, that may not be so great. Now, again, there's a lot of stuff that can be done with coaching, putting people in the right positions to succeed as far as game planning and scheming. So none of that really happened this week. The Bucs played the Titans in practice since I think Wednesday and Thursday, took an off day Friday, and then played the game on Saturday. So the schemes and the week of prep that you would normally do and have the different teams practicing together. If you're a right guard and you're going to be backing up the right guard and the center, then you're going to be practicing a certain way, scheming a certain way. You're going to know about the game plan, who's going to run the ball, what they're going to try to do as far as a team. So there's some things that are going to help with that. You're going to be able to disguise an injury with things like that. So we'll see, but it is a point of concern, especially for me on the offensive line. There were a lot of lookout blocks being thrown last night. It was pretty bad. Matter of fact, I think one of the fumble recoveries was because of a lookout block. The right tackle or the right guard let his man through. Not Tannehill. Our quarterbacks, the
Trask
number
or
11.
Gabbert.
No, Gabbert was going down, and this guy's look out, and that's when Gabbert gives up the ball, and he falls right on it. Like, yep, I'm the hero. I saved the day. I got the fumble.
I saw that play.
Hey, my question is, how much time are we going to spend on OJ Howard? I mean, I understand that the potential for this guy is amazing. You know, he's big, he's strong, he was fantastic, you know, and almost unstoppable in college. But in the NFL, we have seen nothing from him. Nope. And when we're talking that we have tight ends like Brake, Gronk, Hudson, you know, on the team, all these guys have proven to show up on game day. I feel like OJ Howard's the guy that shows up in practice, and he's not like the same guy that shows up on the field on Sunday.
Chief, I don't know, man. I feel like he.
Well, you didn't see the game yesterday. He dropped. So TSG mentioned that he dropped a pass. He dropped multiple passes yesterday that hit him in the hands. I mean, they were not. He wasn't laying out for these. These were
quality passes.
He spent a lot of time off the field in the last 2 seasons because of injury.
He hasn't finished the season. I think he's got less than a season worth of games played.
Yeah, so durability
in 4 years.
He's not helping his case with me. You know, I'm
durability.
I kind of expected to see him go.
It's a good thing you're not the general manager.
Well, you got that right.
Durability counts. Right? Durability does count. And here's the thing. So what I'm seeing here is the game again was in Tampa Bay, right? It's extremely hot here. It's terribly hot here. These to me seem like out of shape drops in the game. He's running 100% full speed.
We've been practicing here for 4 weeks.
That's
these guys live here.
No. Listen to what I got to say here. I'm not giving him an excuse. I'm saying that this leads to what I think is that he just might not be. He's maybe not worth it, because if he's not in shape by now, if he's not putting the time in, all the indications to me are showing this is that kind of guy who rests on his size and talent and doesn't put in the work ethic like the other guys do. At this point in the season, if it were true and he was still out of shape and he's gassed, not catching the ball, we know he can catch the ball.
I don't know.
But we've seen him make
these are literally in his hands. Muscle memory should take over at this point. That you've been catching balls as a tight end since, for the past 10 years or so. I'm not familiar with his prior to Alabama, what he did in college or in high school, but I'm assuming he's probably been catching balls for the past dozen years. And at that point, muscle memory should take over. When that thing is in your hands like this, you catch it, you wrap it up. But no, off his helmet, out. No, forget it. No, he
honestly, I feel like he has the equivalent of the yips from a kicker.
Yeah.
And maybe there's a psychologist that he can go see, or whatever, because it's like, this is, he's only going to get but 5 passes a game, probably something like that. And maybe not that, but he's putting undue pressure on himself. I don't really want to give him an excuse here, because you gotta perform, but I this is like his 4th year now, even though last year he didn't play, but.
So here's the thing. We talked about injuries just a little bit ago, and if you're going to get an injury, we have seen an injury at that position for our team every year for the last 3 or 4 years. One of these guys is going to go down, right?
Cameron Brate's already down.
Yeah, Cam Brate's down right now.
It's going to be Brate, Gronk, Hudson, whoever. So the guy can play tight end. He's having struggles.
The point remains that this is a tough team to make. Like Chief said, this is a position where you need to show up, because you've playing behind a potentially Hall of Famer with Gronkowski, right?
Potentially.
Potentially. I use that loosely. But that's your competition. That's who you're competing with to make the team. And you're not helping yourself by performing like that against the Titans.
So are you guys worried? Are we worried about the 0-2 start, even though it's preseason?
No. I'm not worried about the 0-2 start. I think that Bruce Arians is using preseason for what preseason's meant to be used for. He's evaluating talent. He's looking at, position players. He's putting them in positions where they have to perform. Some guys are doing it, some guys aren't. He's not game planning to win a game. He's game planning to see players so we can make decisions on that.
So,
because
Chief,
September 9th, everybody's 0-0. The preseason doesn't count. Doesn't count for anything.
Chief, it's a little bit easier to do that during a preseason when you're returning 22 starters.
Yeah.
Right. They're not trying to figure out who's going to play on Sunday.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Right. They're not necessarily evaluating rookie talent. Is Joe Tryon? He's not going to start on Sunday.
No, he's not going to start. We will see. You know what though? We're going to see next week. Next week is the game 3, the last game of the preseason, and these guys are going to have almost 2 weeks off between that game and the start of the season. So we're going to see, the starters probably play the first half, maybe into the third quarter a little bit. That will give us a better feel on where we're at. What I did like on the first game, they came out and they didn't really shine on the first game. They only played, like, the first team offense only played one drive. It was like 5 plays or something, But I think these guys were like, whoa, how come we didn't score again? What happened there? And I think that's enough, for those guys Tom Brady and Bruce Arians to say, hey, last year was last year,
Yep. Yeah. And they've said so as much. They've said this current team has done nothing, and they're 100% right.
Well, you need to have that mindset. I'm in sales. You're only as good as last month.
There you go.
Super Bowl doesn't mean anything right now.
There's not an NFC South team that's won a game yet in this preseason. So
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Just statistically, because it's 8 games.
Any cuts after after this past week we need to be mindful of?
The Bucs made 5 cuts today. I didn't recognize any of the names. They were all kind of reserve,
So we still have 4 quarterbacks.
Unfortunately, Ryan Griffin, the 4th, is still here. He probably won't. I was hoping, I don't ever want to see anybody lose their job, but I was hoping for his sake that he was going to get released and give him enough time to go to another team that might be looking for another quarterback.
One of those guys is going to end up on the practice squad.
Maybe not. So the practice squad has rules about being unprotected. So you have to be unprotected in order to get to the practice squad. So it's not going to be Trask. And I don't know. And there may be different rules with COVID. They may have some sort of a COVID list for a taxi squad business like baseball does. I don't know.
There's a reason why Ryan Griffin's only thrown like 6 passes in the last 4 years in the NFL.
Right.
Yeah, there's a reason for that.
Right.
And it's because he's not awesome.
There's
well, we've also had 2 legit starting quarterbacks.
Well, let's say one. And
that other guy is going to play quarterback this season for New Orleans. He might not be any good at it, but he is going to play quarterback.
Dude, if history shows us anything, ex-Buccaneer quarterbacks go on to win Super Bowls.
Oh, I was going to say.
All right, Eric Zaire called and said, "Where's my Super Bowl?" Steve Walsh is making that phone call now.
Testaverde never got one either, so
no, he didn't.
Yeah, but Testaverde had a very successful career after he left here, though.
Sure.
He played like 20 seasons in the NFL. So you brought up something in regards to the COVID list, and I think there's some conversation here on how will COVID affect the NFL season, or how should teams prepare? Because we saw just today, Vrabel, who's the head coach of the Tennessee Titans, announces that he just tested positive for COVID. Now, this is after he has spent a week in Tampa.
Correct.
With our people.
Yeah.
Let's hope Bruce Arians got the shot, because I'm sure that those two had a lot of chit-chat, between each other while they were here. And Bruce Arians is not a spring chicken, so, let's hope he got that. We don't need that to go.
So what do you think? I think, one of the reasons that the Buccaneers were able to do so well, if you remember, there became some games last year in the NFL season that we were like, why aren't they canceling this game? Right. This team has 6, 7, 8 players out on the COVID list. It's really not fair. Our team fared well because they stayed healthy. Now, I don't know what all they did to stay healthy, but do you think it's worth putting these teams in a bubble for? Like, what do you do? Because right now we're seeing higher COVID numbers right now in our country than we did at any point during the NFL season last year. This is going to be a factor.
But are we seeing them amongst athletes and sporting teams?
Well, I think another question is so right now where we live, that 98% of all COVID positive patients are unvaccinated. Okay, and so if you're a Buccaneer, you have a lot to lose here. I think these guys are vaccinated, which, by the way, everyone in the Buccaneers in the organization must be vaccinated except for the players. The players, it's still an option for them. So what it really boils down to is how many of these guys got vaccinated. If the team is 100% vaccinated, then I think we're going to do pretty good. If the team is 50% vaccinated, then there's a chance that we may not do so. We may run into some problems.
Well, remember, there's penalties now if you have an outbreak on your team, and it's found out that you didn't follow protocols as an unvaccinated player. So there's protocols in place. They have wearing masks and social distancing. If you break those protocols and are the cause of some sort of a outbreak in your team, causing them to miss a game, there's penalties and fines for not only the team but for that player specifically.
So we have full stadiums here. What is the rest of the country like? In California, do they have full stadiums?
I don't know.
Anyone know?
I don't. For baseball, they're having pretty much full stadiums for baseball.
Did you see the Rays stadium today? It was packed.
It was pretty
packed with Chicago fans, by the way.
Yeah, it's packed for Chicago White Sox. Yeah,
whatever.
Yeah. So I mean, I think it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. I'm going to assume that Tom Brady is getting these guys together and they're having some conversations about responsibilities. Because he's that type of a veteran leader.
Atlanta is the first NFL team 100% vaccination rate with their team.
Yep, that was announced last week.
Yep.
NFL fines unvaccinated players $15,000 for lapses for any violation with the COVID-19. But $15,000, that'll get your attention.
So, I mean, when you think that probably most players in the NFL are probably only making between $250,000 and $500,000 a year, $15,000 is a gut punch.
That seems like a lot of money, but I think these guys are also considered what's the word I'm looking for? They're independent agents. So that means they have to pay double federal income tax. And they're paying their agent 10%. I mean that. $250,000 sounds like a lot, but it doesn't really go as far as you think it does.
Right. You're not cashing out $250,000.
No, you're not.
No. Nope. All right. TSG.
Yes.
We are not going to see Tim Tebow take snaps in the NFL this season.
No, we are not going to see that. So, he got released by Jacksonville. The coach said it was a really hard thing to do, but he knew that he had to do it, and he is glad that he did it. And so Tebow's playing career in the NFL is over.
Now, are any of you surprised?
I am, actually.
I wanted to believe he'd be able to do this.
Yeah, me too, man.
I thought we'd see him at least through the preseason. In all honesty, I thought we'd see him at least through, game 2 and probably game 3. I'm really shocked to see him gone after game 1.
That's got to tell you how poorly he must have been playing in practice.
But, a lot of the rumors I heard was about him not blocking well. Okay, well, blocking a lot of times comes down to knowing your blocking assignment. This is a guy that played quarterback in the NFL, and he doesn't know how to read his blocking assignment?
And it's not reading, it's technique to actually make the block. He's a quarterback. He never blocked anybody. You've seen who are the worst blockers in the league? How many bad blocks have we seen in the NFL from a quarterback who tries to go out and lead and block? Usually they miss them.
I saw Brett Favre level a block on Warren Sapp one time, and it was phenomenal.
That was phenomenal. That was good.
No,
Warren got the last
right.
laugh on that, though, if you remember.
Yeah. You're right. I mean, it is a technique. It is a learned skill. It is not something you can pick up in training camp in 2 or 3 weeks. But I guess for me, it was a bit of a surprise. I didn't think he was going to be an NFL caliber tight end, but I thought they were going to be able to use him as some sort of a trick gimmick individual play.
Yeah, oh yeah, I think we all expected him to get some snaps at quarterback, right?
Well, yeah,
He
or
would
just
make the
a
team as
or
a tight end,
line up
but
in
he
the
would get some
backfield.
snaps. He'd maybe play wide out a couple of plays or something
Right.
like that. I just think it's interesting to me. Why bring a guy into camp like that you're gonna just cut after one preseason game? Chief,
I'll tell you why. You go ahead, Chief. You go first.
No, I mean, I really think it's just about publicity at that point. I mean, I guess maybe Urban Meyer thought that there was something there. There could possibly be. He did come in. He did bulk up. I mean, he was. Yeah. I mean, whatever.
He was enormous.
Yeah, he's been eating some chicken. I'll tell you that. So, but whatever. But not enough. Obviously, not enough. Not enough there. I have a couple other notable cuts. If any, you want to hear about them real quick?
Come on.
Hey, David Johnson, running back. He got cut by the Houston Texans this week. Zach Ertz, who was a staple on my fantasy teams for a couple years. Tight end out of the Eagles, also cut. So two guys, right there that probably
they'll get picked up.
Haven't. Well, you think so? David Johnson. Running backs are. I mean, he was a workhorse for years, but when you lose it as a running back, you lose it.
Yeah, well, in today's NFL, Chief, you don't got to be the guy carrying the load.
No, you
don't.
These teams all run out. They run 2 to 3 running backs out there every game.
That's true. Yeah.
Somebody's going to need that third down back or, something like that. I don't know what his specialty was. Hey, let's switch gears a little bit. And let's kind of move over to baseball. The Rays are on a tear right now, but we might be heading for trouble. TSG, we got just in today's game, we got a number of guys who went down. What do we know?
Yeah, so Nelson Cruz was placed on the COVID-19 injured list on Sunday. Kevin Cash said that Nelson woke up not feeling well, so he decided to keep him out just to be safe. He's still got to be tested and all of that. So we've got 15 pitchers and G-Man Choi that are out right now. So our injured list, grows. G-Man Choi is out after he hit a double on Sunday, right when he was getting to second base. He felt it kind of get real tight on him. And as far as Nelson Cruz goes, his roster spot is going to be taken up by Chris Mazza, which is a right-handed pitcher. So Archer as well, he had to leave with left hip tightness. And what do you think about that?
He just
I think you should go to the clubhouse and get stretched out between innings and go back out there and freaking pitch.
Archie, we hardly knew ye. You just came back.
That guy was pitching well.
He was pitching well.
He pitched well for 2 innings too. And I don't know about that. Hey, if you got to have a bunch of guys out, this is the week to have them out, by the way. First of all, we don't play Monday.
Are we playing Baltimore again?
We are, but not. Hey, we play the Phillies on Tuesday and Wednesday. The Phillies they're a 500 team. They're right at, I think they're 62 and 61, something like that. And then we play the Orioles, for the Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Anyway, so we play the Orioles. So it's a good week for us to to be down a couple of guys.
Yeah, the Phillies, this could be a trap series. The Phillies are surging. They're fighting for the first place spot against the Braves. They have been playing very well. Bryce Harper is coming on like a tear. He's actually starting to put in, everyone thought Fernando Tatis.
He's actually starting to play like Bryce Harper should.
Right. Everyone thought that Fernando Tatis was going to be the runaway MVP. Bryce Harper, his numbers are right there. So they're playing extremely well. This could be a trap series for the Rays. It's only a 2-game series. It's in Philadelphia. Just keep an eye out for it. Hopefully, the Rays keep their winning ways going, but it's not a cakewalk. Let's put it that way.
So I don't know what the parameters are for the COVID list in Major League Baseball. I don't know if is the guy test negative, he can come back or what. Is there a certain amount of time he's got to be out? The reason I say that is of those injuries we've listed, the one that would concern me the most is G-Man Choi. And at first you're going, oh, Brian, what are you talking about? Cruz has hit 30 plus home runs. He's hitting 280 or whatever. But I just feel when G-Man Choi is in that lineup, even though he's not hitting great, the guy is like a situational player. For whatever reason, he finds a way to show up when we need something.
Yeah, he's pretty clutch. So with G-Man, that the hamstring injury is a kind of a lingering injury.
It's been going all season. Yeah.
Right. So this was just a kind of an exaggeration of that injury. Hopefully it's just something that could be worked out, stretched out, rubbed out, whatever, some hot tub, ice tub business. But you're right. This is a more crucial injury because the only other person they have to play first base with any kind of skill or regularity is Yandy Diaz.
Yeah.
Joey Wendell can fill in, Brandon Lau can fill in. I don't really want to see those guys there. I'd rather see a traditional first baseman. If that's the case, they may have to go to Durham and get Nate Lowe, who has been raking down in Durham. So this might be one of those things where get us through to September where the rosters expand and they can bring up Nate Lowe permanently. Don't know. We'll see, but it is. I agree with you. This is a scarier situation than
and going back to Archer, it's disappointing because we've been asking, when's Archer coming back? When's Archer coming back?
Yep.
He had a couple of rehab starts. His rehab gets delayed because of some of this, hip tightness or whatever. Like at this point for him, if it's a lingering issue and he's a pitcher, we may not see him the rest of the season until the playoffs. Because at this point, you just need to shelf the guy until he's going to be able to actually finish a game.
Yeah, but to what point? Are you going to bring him in a one-game series? Obviously the Rays aren't in the wild card seat, but if a 5-game series against the Astros, you're going to bring in Archer to play the first game where he's going to leave after 2 innings with foot tightness and you have to see a bullpen. I mean, come on.
So you're saying shut him down, he's done.
I'm saying, Crapper, get off the pot. That's what I'm saying. Are you going to pitch or are you not going to pitch?
He looked good in 2 innings. He looked
fantastic.
He struck out the side in the first inning on
fight
20
through it.
pitches.
Have some courage, or if you're truly hurt, get off the field.
Wow. Did you just say we need a pitcher, not a belly itcher?
Yes.
You just said?
Yes.
Wow. Pooh Bear is fired up.
Yeah, he is.
This was a playoff series. The White Sox are one of the best teams in the American League. It's the Rays, the White Sox, and the Astros. There's nobody else with that kind of class right now. You're on essentially the AL championship. Well, you are the AL champion, defending champions. They're fighting. There's a lack of pitching, and you're going to come in off of the injury reserve list. You've taken the entire summer off. I understand your mother passed away. You went through a grieving process. I get it. That's great. I'm glad you got into a mental health space where you're happy, but you're back on the field. You told us you're ready to be here. I saw your Instagram post on how amped up you were to be back on the bump, and that's what you come out with? Fight through it, man.
Boom.
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
Hey, let me just follow that. Let me just follow that by saying, okay, the White Sox are giants, by the way. Have you seen that team? Every one of those guys are huge out there. That is, so we came off the series of the Orioles where we absolutely dominated that series. And I was wondering how we were going to play against a really good team. And, so we lose the first game in extra innings. We were behind the whole game. We come up in the 8th inning, actually take the lead. We lose it, tie it in the 9th. We lose in the 11th. Okay. And I was like, okay, we played these guys pretty good. We lost, but we played pretty good. So I was kind of okay with that. Come in the next day and we win. I was like, sweet. But then today we absolutely shut them out. I mean, every one of those guys is hitting well. They've got guys that are fielding great. They're not producing errors, and we shut that team out. And I think the final score was 9-0. I think it was 9-0. Hey, this team right here, if you had any doubts, which I did early on in the season, though.
No,
I did. I'll say it, man.
Call anybody the Billy Goat.
I may have called, yes. So, this team can play with any team in Major League Baseball. I don't know how they're doing it, with the money that they're shelling out, but this is a really good baseball team. They can play with anybody. We get healthy, you better watch out because we may be buying more expensive tickets.
Yes. So to go to the World. So they've won 6 of the last 7, right? But the Yankees have won 9 in a row and are surging. Right now, we hold a 4.5 game lead in the American League East, but I don't think it's going to get any easier. I think we were worried about the Red Sox a few weeks ago. I think right now you need to be worried about the Yankees. One bright spot I have seen though, Is Wander Franco starting to heat up?
Oh, wow.
Ooh.
Yeah.
He looks like what we were promised.
Yes.
Yes.
Not just his bat, but his glove.
At the right time. At the right time.
Yes.
Yeah. He
Yeah,
made
man.
a catch today. He made a catch today where, I mean, he had to climb the ladder to go get this thing, and his hang time was flat impressive. I mean,
Right.
if someone doesn't take a picture of that and, make it into an ad, they are missing an opportunity.
And he was shifted over. That he was on the
Yes.
second base side of
Yep.
second base. Jumped
Sure
up and
was.
snagged. I made my son stop what he was doing and watch that one. Like, watch the replay.
Rewind.
They replayed it plenty.
Oh, hey, speaking of guys that are making great plays, did y'all see Zunino make run for the triple the other was it yesterday?
Yes.
That he ran, yes, yesterday afternoon. Zunino, I mean, these other guys, Phillips and Kiermaier were rounding the
Kiermaier.
bases. They did the in the park home run in about 15 seconds or under.
Yes.
And Zunino barely made it to third base in 15 seconds. I mean, he had to fire up the diesel to get that thing rounded, to get it rounded second. It was fantastic to watch that.
Listen, man, us big guys, it takes us a little while to get that motor started.
That reminds me of that time that I hit a drive to right field, opposite field. And like right away off the bat, I was playing softball in the church league. I'm like, this is a triple. I come blazing around second. Pooh Bear's the third base coach, and my pants start to fall down.
You got a decision to make.
Crawling. You crawl, you go.
They got me at third trying to pull my pants up.
By the way, the Yankees and Rays have no more games against each other this season. So it's
Wow.
So we need someone else to do our dirty work for us.
Oh,
Yes.
I'm sorry. In October, the first weekend in October, they have a 3-game set. My bad.
Oh wow, so that could be for it all, right
That
there.
could
That's
be for it all, yeah.
Those are the last 3 games of the season, and it's in New York.
well, dude, we play well in New York, so I feel
Yes,
pretty
we
good
do.
about that.
But that's after that's a tough week. They got to play the Astros 3 games, and then go to New York. Wow.
You know what?
Let me
Though?
ask you guys this. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I would rather come off playing a good team when you got to go play another good team
Yeah.
because your game's
Yes.
elevated,
Yeah.
as opposed to cruising over the Orioles and then having to
agree.
try to pick it up.
I agree.
Yeah, for the playoffs. Yeah, I'm
Yes.
with you there. So we've been talking a lot about the AL East, and for years, arguably the AL East's been the best division in baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Do you still think that it is?
Not right now. It's not. The NL West is clearly a better, as far as competitiveness. It's definitely the NL West.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I was looking at the standings there this week, and I'm looking. You got the Dodgers and San Francisco battling it out at the top, right?
Yep.
The Dodgers are defending World Series champions. But everybody thought that San Diego would have this amazing, and they're not having a bad year, but it's tough to win games in that division when you got to play the Dodgers and the Giants.
I can break out our predictions from the beginning of the season. I think somebody said the Dodgers wouldn't make the play. Oh, here it is. It's next to my name. 2021 bold predictions. Padres missed the playoffs.
Padres makes well, that's starting to look pretty good, man.
Now, I will say this.
Padres miss playoffs.
You also put Glasnow the K leader.
I did, and by the way, he was second in Ks when he went out with his Tommy John. So I wasn't far off on that one either.
I'm doing the math here, and I believe that the AL East has more wins than the West.
What do you mean?
All the teams. Just if you're gonna, when you talk about division.
Well, that's because we're handicapped because the Orioles are there.
Well, the West has Arizona. I mean, the Arizona.
Yeah, the Diamondbacks.
They should. Both those teams literally should be fined for what they're doing. Matter of fact, so I know a scout for another MLB team who is actually here in Tampa this week, and he was, for whatever reason, his team made him scout the Rays and Orioles, and he's texting me. He's like, "This is horrible. This is bad baseball." I mean, this is from a guy who watches minor league games for a living. Telling us how bad the Orioles are. It was tragic. But okay, so we could argue. So you've got Colorado and Arizona in the basement of the West. They are two of the worst teams right now. So you could say that, but the East has the Orioles. So skill level, so I retract my statement. I still think the skill level wise, the East has
You still
four
think
better
the East
teams.
is still? You still think the AL East is the best?
Those
the
four
hardest
teams
division
are
in baseball?
more competitive than the 5 teams in the
I think
West.
Toronto, if they could ever get some pitching,
Right.
we'd be worried about them right now.
AL East
Those guys
has
can hit.
AL East has 321 wins, and the West, the Dodgers and all the NL West have 315 wins.
Yeah.
So I don't know what
as a whole, I think the National League, is more balanced than the American League, right? So to put that out there, so that your top upper teams, the Atlanta, Philadelphia, Milwaukee, Cincinnati, LA, San Francisco, those are all much more evenly matched, except for the Dodgers. Really, their payroll is crazy compared to the American League.
Yeah.
So another way to look at it would just be to line them up one against the other. So in this case, division leaders, we would look at the Giants versus the Rays.
Mm-hmm.
And I would have to probably get, as much as I just said it, I'd probably give the nod to the Giants on that one. But then you got the Yankees versus the Dodgers. And I would probably, on that one, I may give it to the Dodgers too. And then, so now you're looking at Boston versus the Padres. And, I think that the Padres have been a victim of the Dodgers and Giants. And I feel that the Padres can beat the Red Sox. So
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, when you look at it like that, now if the order was slightly changed, and the Rays weren't on the top and the Rays were like in, say, second place, then maybe we would, against the Giants, I would probably give it to the Rays on that case. But that's not the way they're lined up right now. So, for crying out loud, even the Diamondbacks would beat the Orioles. So, I don't know about that. So across the board, I think that they sweep it, except possibly, the Rockies. Toronto may pull out a win against the Rockies. So, I don't know. I may go. I understand, TSG's, way he's looking at it, but the way I see it, I might give the nod to the NL West right now.
It's real close. It's super tight, and I actually, if I had to say playoffs, I would agree with that.
Listen, I think the bottom line is, you just listen to this discussion we're having right now. This is going to be an interesting 5 to 6 weeks of baseball.
Yeah,
dude, there's a really good chance that we're going to see in the World Series NL West versus AL East.
AL East, yes.
Yeah, that's
like the last World Series, right?
Yeah, I can buy that.
All right, so listen, we got some pretty cool segments to get to, shifting kind of out of the sports for a minute. Pooh Bear, let's kick this thing off with some You Can't Fix Stupid. Chief, you're the leadoff hitter, my man.
So I shared it. So I'm in the station. This is real life. This is what people use 911 for. Okay, real life. We get a call. 911 call comes in for an engine company response to a woman's house because she cannot open an Advil bottle. She can't open an Advil bottle. Come on, man. I mean, this is not, and when they get there, she's actually washing dishes. She's actually up washing dishes and everything else. And whatever happened, by the way, to, knocking on your neighbor's door or just stepping outside and saying, excuse me, can you open a bottle? You can call 911, to bring an entire fire department engine company over there to extricate the top off of an Advil bottle.
Well, did they do it?
Yeah, they did it. They went over there and they did it. But I mean, that's the crazy thing. Well, they did do it. Yeah, I mean, it's public service. But I mean, it's just crazy. That's just a glimpse of some of the silliness that we get into. With 911.
So, I would love to hear the audio of that 911 call.
I haven't heard the audio, but
I'd like to know what the training is like for a 911 operator, to where, like, for me, I would have said, well, you need to call someone else. That's not our job. I would have told
That's
her.
what I'm saying. The 911 call was not as simple as I can't get.
No, that's exactly
That
what
Advil
it
bottle.
said. When we get dispatched, they type comments in on this thing, and it literally, the guys before they ran the call, it wasn't a lights and sirens call. It was a public assist. So they just go over there and help them out.
Okay.
So, but I guess
they actually showed it to me. They're like, Chief, we're going to go do this, and I was like, oh, yes, you are. I mean, good luck, soldier.
Have a good time.
Well,
I guess my concern is, so if that's a real call, I mean, I believe it is from what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, as far as like the operator doesn't have the authority to say that's not what we do? And is that because there could be another health emergency going on? Maybe that's some sort of a code for, hey,
liability.
That's what I'm saying. So is there a liability on any department, not just the ones that you guys work for?
No, there's tons of calls that we turn down, every day.
Okay.
We don't go to your house to fill up your swimming pool. We don't go get your cat out of the tree. They don't send us on those types of calls. But we do public service. If someone's laying on the floor and they just need to get put up in their chair, we'll go and we'll pick you up and we'll put you in your chair.
Right.
So and there are things that like if you're if your keys your keys are locked in the car. Well, in this case, we do it now only if your kid is locked in the car, and then we break your window. But that's less of a public service call, I guess. But hey, I've been on.
But we're gonna break the window.
We're gonna break the window. Yeah, well,
you're going to jail, but
so hold on. Let me tell you guys a story. So years ago, I was a captain, and we get called out at like 2:00 in the morning. And I'm reading the notes. I don't understand. It's something about a sprinkler and blah, blah, blah. So we get there, and it's in a residential neighborhood, and a yard sprinkler, like in the ground yard sprinkler. This thing had some really good pressure on it, by the way. Someone had broke the head off, and it was shooting up into the air, and it was making contact with the power lines. Okay? Well, the guy who called us is there, and he tells us that that he is afraid for the general public that someone's going to get electrocuted. And I said, I don't understand. He goes, well, it's going up, it's hitting the electrical lines, and it's going to come down, and it's going to shock somebody. And I looked at him and I said, sir, do you realize it rains in Florida almost every day and people don't get electrocuted? That's not how it works. This guy was just absolutely flabbergasted that, nobody was going to. Oh, and then, by the way, so then he asked me if we can turn the sprinkler system off. I said, but this is a neighborhood. There's a HOA. Somebody's in charge of that. And he goes, well, that's the HOA president's house right over there. I'm going to go knock on his door. And I said, well, once again, good luck, soldier. I hope this guy doesn't answer the door with a gun, You're worried about a yard sprinkler.
I don't know. Sometimes I think the Chief's favorite part of his job is breaking down doors.
Dude, I had broke down a lot of doors. LA Fitness, in one night, I broke 1, 2, 3, 4 doors in that place, man.
But it wasn't on fire.
We didn't know that.
Oh,
we did not know that.
Until all the doors were down. Then you knew.
The doors were down. The fire alarm said it was on fire. The fire alarm was active.
Right.
Said it was hot.
You ready?
Uh-oh.
You got one?
All right. So 3:00 in the morning, call for, I think, anxiety, high heart rate, heart palpitations or something like that. We get over to this like motel somewhere, go in, check the lady out. And she's like, we're like, okay, let's take you over to the hospital and get you checked out. No. I'm fine. Everything's good. She goes, I know what I need. I know exactly what's going on. I just need a hug. I will not name the captain. I don't know. I don't even remember the captain at that time. But immediately, no. There are no hugs going out tonight.
Wow. No hugs going out tonight.
No.
That is not a public service call.
We'll be happy to take you to the hospital, ma'am. But there's not going to be any hugging going on here. Sign the paper. I don't know who that captain might have been. I have no idea.
So there's an entire industry, and I believe it's Japan, based on companionship like that, hugging and snuggling. Like people are paying big money for a lunchtime snuggle with a stranger.
What?
No, yeah, nothing. I'll find a news link for it.
That's called prostitution. Poopy.
No, there is absolutely nothing illicit about it. It is strictly platonic. Like I thought the same thing. I'm like, going, nah, this sounds like a, we'll come and dance for you. One of those things from Craigslist or something. No, this is a legit industry, and I believe it's Japan. It might be Taiwan or somewhere like that. But yeah, just to get a hug or to snuggle.
I'm
Why
pretty
is
sure
it-
that if I paid someone to give me a hug during my lunchtime, my wife would not be okay with that.
Yeah.
I mean that, and I'm
That's what we're calling it
or
now.
a snuggle, and that is
And
not.
that's
Where do you go to snuggle during lunch? I mean,
they've got these pods. They've got these like a siesta pods or something. Where you
Snuggle
can-
pod.
Yeah, you can. I'm telling you, look it up. It is a
Uh.
big thing. Like it is a money making industry. I don't know how much money it makes, but it's a money making industry.
I'm gonna find out how much it costs for a Japan.
Look up-
You say
Yeah, I believe it's
All right,
Japan. Look up Japanese snuggle bus or something.
Japan.
Snuggle pod.
All right, listen.
snuggle pod.
So, first of all, why do all the you can't fix stupid
Wow.
stories come out of Florida?
Hmm.
I don't know. Because people who, unlike me, who chose to be born here, choose to come and down I-75 and live here, and
Oh,
we
wow.
don't like them.
No, you don't like it. If you're not native.
That's right. If you didn't choose to be born here, we don't want you.
Well, that's a whole different segment. We'll get into some other time. Listen, we got some heartbreaking news this week. Hot dogs, eating and consuming hot dogs can cut your life short.
I'm
this
calling
world
bullspit on this one.
What's this world coming to?
Hold on.
I'm
Hold
calling
on.
bullspit. Bullspit.
For every hot dog that you consume, you cut 35 minutes off your life. I'm just like, I'd already be dead.
I'd be darn close.
Did you see the
I
4th of July show where I ate 8 hot dogs on the show?
8 hot dogs. That's like what is
Two and
that?
a
Like
half
3
hours
hours
gone.
out of your life? Yeah.
Right.
Bye.
Joey
right
Chestnut
here.
would be dead.
Right here, live on the air, I did it.
The
I don't
Black
want-
Widow.
2 more
We'll be
months,
dead.
we're gonna have another host.
You know what? So I wonder about that. Is it really the hot dogs, or is it just the things that people that eat hot dogs also eat? You know, and the lifestyle associated with it. You know, what I mean, so I'm assuming that if you're willing to eat a hot dog, that you're probably also willing to eat like cheeseburgers and probably may
Nachos.
frown on eating nachos.
Pulled,
so good,
pulled
man.
pork nachos.
Truck stop
slathered in nacho
nachos are
sauce.
so good. I mean, yes.
Well, I'm just thinking of ball game food, right? So when I go to a Rays game, love having the foot long hot dog. Love getting into some pulled pork nachos. Love getting into a little Papa John's pizza.
Yeah.
Not
See,
scared
that's
of
what
any of
I'm
it.
talking about.
I
That's
like
just,
to get
that's
the
just the
ice cream.
signal.
I like to get the ice cream that comes in the helmet hat. The helmet
So what
thing.
you're saying is they may have done a study where they take someone like me who is willing to eat all those things, right?
Mhm.
And take my lifespan, and then they take a perfectly healthy person who's never touched those things, who just so happened to luckily live longer, and compare those two and say, oh, well, the difference between healthy, no fun bun here went 2 extra years. We'll do the math. Well, it's 35 minutes per hot dog this guy ate. That's how that works.
How do they figure it out? How do they figure it out?
I've never calculated how many hot dogs I've
All right,
had.
and so I got to ask you a question. What foods could you consume that would be like bacon's got to be pretty high on that list?
So listen, bacon, any of your deli lunch meats, hot dogs, anything with that preservatives to keep those around a long time, those are all on the FDA website as tier 1 carcinogens. They are tier 1, like the lowest level, but actually considered a legal level tier 1 carcinogen.
I'll have
I
you
don't
know this.
This is probably Pat's last show. I'm just saying.
I'll have you know this. All those things you just mentioned that preserve life is what the Egyptians used to make their mummies stay around longer. So I'm sticking with the Egyptians. They've got evidence.
Well, your body will be here, but you'll be gone. It's
While we're talking about bacon, because I'm pretty sure bacon would have to be pretty high on. I mean, if a hot dog is 35 minutes, bacon's like an hour, right? How many of you in one sitting have eaten an entire package of bacon? Just you.
A full pound.
A full pound.
How many times, or how? Raise my hand if I have, or do you want to know
ever?
Do you want to know the number that I have done?
I don't know the number that I have done, but I know for sure I have.
I've definitely eaten a pound of bacon in one sitting.
a full pound of bacon.
Absolutely.
Made sandwiches out of it, dude. You make bacon sandwiches.
Wow.
I did run a call on a woman, by the way, who's we're getting into the number of calls I ran now. This woman, her blood pressure was incredibly high. I'm talking like 270 over maybe 150, something. I mean, maybe even higher than that. It was incredibly high. And she says to me, I knew I shouldn't have had that bacon sandwich for breakfast. Not a bacon and egg sandwich, not bacon with my breakfast, just a bacon sandwich.
Chief, you've never had just a bacon sandwich?
Dude, okay, listen, I'll tell you, I love bacon, but I've never eaten a pound of bacon at one sitting, and I've never had just a bacon sandwich. And now I've had a lot of bacon on a BLT, but I have never had just a bacon sandwich.
So when it comes to bacon, I like to
That's a lot of bacon. I cannot imagine eating just a bacon sandwich.
I like to follow the words of the wise philosopher Robert Van Winkle, also known as Vanilla Ice, in his famous 1990 song, who said, "Cooking MCs like a pound of bacon,
burning them,
quick and nimble." That's. I mean,
I picture your face when quick and nimble runs across the comes out of your mouth.
I am the epitome of quick and nimble.
Yeah.
So listen, Chief, for breakfast tomorrow, I'm gonna take care of you right now. Okay. Tomorrow, do you have bacon in the refrigerator?
I don't think I do, actually.
Ooh, that's a crime.
I don't think I do.
I have two types.
That's like saying you don't have milk.
I have real bacon.
We got milk. I got like 5 gallons of milk here, but I don't have bacon.
All right, so you got to go to get some bacon. You fry up the bacon. Now, you can do this 2 ways. You can toast your bread, put some butter on it, put 4 or 5 sticks of bacon on there.
How about a little mayonnaise?
Make a sandwich, boom.
Or mayonnaise on that? A little mayonnaise?
You can do it without toasting it. It depends on whether you want to have that crispy crunch when you eat it, or whether you want the bread to be like
soft. And then you get the crunch from the bacon. I like my bacon a little crunchy.
He loves like talking dirty to us right now.
You want the bread a little crispy on the outside, but soft on the inside.
What kind of mayonnaise do you use there, Pooh Bear? There's only one mayonnaise there should be in y'all's refrigerator. Let's see.
Brother, I'm Southern and it's Duke's.
Yes.
All right.
There's no other mayonnaise.
Get your nonsense. When I married my wife, she was an avid Hellmann's user.
Oh.
Or not Miracle Whip. Excuse me, Miracle Whip.
That's not mayonnaise. That's
why I told
mayonnaise.
her. That's why I told her.
That's salad dressing. It even says
right on it.
the
It says salad dressing.
That's not mayonnaise.
She was like, "This is good." I finally had her converted.
No,
finally.
Yep.
Cougar, I've been watching this couple cuddle here on the side here in Japan for the last couple of minutes. And
what I tell you,
dude, they're standing there. So they got this cute little Japanese girl. I said little. I mean, she's in 20s, and she's passing out cards on the street like they do in Vegas. And next thing I know, here they are, cuddling, and she's like stroking his hair and this, and then eventually she just lays down next to him, and that's the end of it. I have no idea how much it costs, but yeah, you're right. There they are cuddling for lunch.
I'm telling you, this stuff goes in here and it comes out at the worst times.
No.
That's how it goes, man.
Cuddle cafes or co-sleeping specialty shops.
Co-sleeping. Oh my gosh.
So
remember, Man Event fans, we not only talk sports and riveting information, but we bring to you,
Asian cuddle houses.
Yes,
the best part of this show
don't put
today,
that in the description. We might get it.
The best part of this show today was me teaching you how to make a bacon sandwich.
Yeah. Well, I bet Javi could do it better. I'm sure he would say.
Javi would agree with you too.
Yeah, maybe a competition here. Maybe a show on bacon sandwiches.
All right, so I was telling you guys a couple of weeks ago for one of my weeks for football, I was going to smoke a bologna, like a whole loaf of bologna. I'll smoke a bologna. We'll cut it into thick slices.
I like it.
A lot of people don't know what happens to a piece of
pan
bologna
fry
when you cook it. But have you seen a piece of bologna? What happens to it when you heat it up?
Well, that's why you got to cut the slice in it. You got to cut a slice in it, PSG.
I have no idea because I'm gainfully employed. I've never had to eat bologna. So.
Oh yeah, us poor folk back when we were younger, we had to eat some bologna sandwiches in our day.
I love bologna.
It pops up and it looks like how would you describe it, Chief?
That's why, hey, TSG, you got to run a knife from the center of that piece of bologna to the edge.
No.
So then when it cooks, it turns into the Pac-Man.
No, because when you can't afford bowls, you stick everything inside there just like it is. You flip it over and then you put all your stuff in there.
Follow us for more cooking tips.
Dude, how did we get here? How did we get?
Wow.
How did we get here?
That's it, boys. We're done.
Oh,
Move there. Put a fork in it.
Let's wrap this puppy up. Ladies
Bad.
and gentlemen, if you've made it this far in the broadcast,
Oh,
you are someone special, and we love you for it. Thank you.
Probably my dad.
Yeah.
Thank you, Coach Muckenfoos, for making it this far. We may have to re-release that or promote it or something.
Oh, we're definitely going to re-release
It's
that.
coming up. Anyway, so if you have made it this far in the broadcast, go ahead and subscribe to our channel if you haven't done so already. It's free of charge. Does nothing for you. Does a lot for us. Like this video if you want to see more stuff like this. And tune in next week at 7 o'clock. We'll be back doing the same nonsense, talking about Asian cuddle houses and fried bologna, because that's what we do best. All right.
my.
That's it from us. Say goodnight, Chief.
Good night.